our community participant. I'm also on the Princ-s school board. I'm all here because our children matter. Our children matter. It's like when something in our community happens,
They said they want you to speak up.
only some people know about it.
Can you speak up, please? We can't hear you.
When things happen in our community, only certain people know about it. Through Facebook, we get the word out. When something happens out in the suburbs, everybody knows about it. The resources. They get the resources. What resources do we get? The city is asking for a shot spotter. If we had shot spotter, would Suggs been able to get them people all the way to Wisconsin to drop their bodies? Or would we have known about them before they got to Wisconsin? For hours, he was driving around. Shot spotter would have indicated where the shots came from and he would have been caught immediately. Why do our lives not matter? People are offended because we say Black Lives Matter. In order for your life to matter, Black lives has to matter. Let me say this once and for all. When Black people ask for equality, they treat white people worse. White people are getting shot by the cops. Why? Because we asked them to stop shooting us. And they say, guess what? We shoot everybody. And that's an okay answer. Philando should still be alive today. And he's not, because our leadership don't listen to us. We report bad police. Nothing happens. We report bad leadership. Nothing happens. We want change in our community. Not so we can live peacefully, so everybody can live peacefully.
That's right.
I want to see my children grow up. I want to pay for weddings. I want to pay for college. I want to pay for my children to play football at a rec center. I won't get that opportunity if you do not make changes and give us the resources that we need to live in our city while you keep bringing everybody else here. I'm not mad at immigrants. I feel bad for them because we're lying to them and selling them a pipe dream. We can't live peacefully. How can they? How many reports have we seen on the news where an immigrant comes here for a better life and killed in the street? They could have stayed home for that. We got to do better. If you don't know what to do, vote. Vote and vote. We keep putting these people in charge that don't give a shit about us. We keep voting Democrat, Democrat, Democrat. We keep voting Republican, 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 because that's how we was taught. We need to vote on who cares for our community, who cares for our children, who cares for our businesses. Because I'll say like this, I was asked, do I support businesses losing their constitutional rights? And I had to think about it. Do I support that? As somebody who has no business, of course I would support it. Because I don't understand what that means. Because I have no knowledge of what goes on in the business side, because I'm not in a business. But if we take away their rights, what does that do to our community? What does it do to a community when we do all this stuff to the businesses? What does it do to the community when we say, no, we're not going to fund the police? What does it do to the community when we're not out here putting up the resources that we need? We're destroying ourselves. We're destroying everything about our city and our state. I'll sit up here and say Minnesota nice is a nice slogan, but it's racist. It's a nice way of saying, I'm going to give you what you want and talk about you and do dirt behind your back. That's Minnesota nice. That's what we are living in. Because when we ask for stuff, we don't get it. We get told that we're going to get it and we never get it. We're sitting here, keep asking for the same thing. Same thing over and over and over and over again. But when are we going to get it? When are we going to get the leadership that we need? We are dying. It's a pandemic. And I know more people who have been killed in the streets than COVID. It's sad. Every day is an RIP on Facebook. Every day. And the sad thing about this is, most of these people that killed somebody knows the person that they killed. And why is that? Because of displacement and gentrification in our community. We've been displaced and we don't know our roots. We got people up here that don't even know that they used to eat at the same table as a child because they've been displaced from their community and don't even know where they came from. And that's going to keep on happening. It's going to continue to be a problem until we get control of our situation. And the only way that we're going to get control of our situation is through voting and getting out there and filling up them offices. Even a felon can run for office. You can be locked up in a jail and run for office, but you can't vote. You can't control God, but God can control you. Yep.
Y'all can't control
And the devil is working right now. And we're going to go ahead and praise God anyway and keep it moving because I'm out here to save a life. Because anybody could be the next victim. A bullet ain't got no name. And people think it's funny until it's them or a loved one. It's not funny. This stuff hurts. My niece was murdered last year by her boyfriend. Good shot Spider has saved her life. I'm still yelling justice for Javon Malone, who was killed just this year. Shot Spider could have saved his life. He was a young, up-and-coming rapper. Very, very talented. His parents' only son. And because of street violence, he's gone. And these kids that are killed in these street violence, not all of them are gangbangers. Let's make that clear right now. Not every victim is a gangbanger. Not every victim pulls a trigger. Not every victim has a record. Not every victim does dirt. Alright? We have pastors' children that have been killed out here. We have police officers' kids who get killed in these streets too. Nobody is untouchable. And the fact that we have politicians going against the police, that is showing us where the problem is coming from. You cannot say that my child has a problem with authority when you're not showing them how to respect authority. You're not showing them how to be a responsible teenager, not even a responsible adult. Because you're telling the police, I don't care about them lives out there in the streets. You're telling the police your job is not important. How can we have diversity in our city and don't even want to hire more cops? Don't you think maybe some of this street violence and some of this domestic violence will go down if we had police officers that could communicate to every single citizen in our city? Don't you think that our schools deserve better? Like, they are shooting out here. Our schools have been shot while there was no kids in the building. If there was a child in that building, would there be change to our schools? I'm asking for change, real change out here. I want bulletproof windows on these school buildings. Because our children matter. My child matters. Your child matters. Everybody out here matters. You want real change? You go to them polls and you change it. If you was born in St. Paul, you should want to run for office. You should want to get our city in order. Everybody has to get fed up. And everybody should be fed up. The police cannot do their job when they're underfunded. The police cannot do their job when they can't reach out to the communities that they're supposed to serve. When you get community policing, which is the community helping the police, we have to work together. And I don't care what your background is, I will work with you. You create a solution, you want to talk, you will always have a seat at my table. My table is always open. Me and Marcus met through Facebook, and we've never stopped talking. We support each other because our children matter. All these organizations, and I'm not going to call anybody out by name, but when I ask you, let's come together, and you say I'm trying to piggyback off your name, my parents was Robert and Ginger Brand. I don't need no accreditation from nobody else. That helped St. Paul. That helped clean up Selby Avenue because we kept having bullets flying through our window. The first time I seen a murder was 7 years old. R.I.P. Jeffrey Moore. I'll never forget.
Oh, Jeffrey Moore. Oh my God.
And these are all facts. I'm from St. Paul Rondo neighborhood.
Me
the
too.
neighborhood that they destroyed and they continue to destroy. What is a land footprint going to do for you? What is it going to do for me? What is it going to do for our community? Give us more space to walk. What about the contaminated soil that y'all got our houses built on because you wanted to build a freeway and dig our old houses with lead into the ground? Now let's talk about that. Let's talk about how there's lead all over America in black communities. When our black kids is out here getting killed by police, it's because they don't have lead poisoning. Check into Freddie Gray. Michael Brown was a lead victim too. If you think it's a coincidence that they test for lead up until the age of 5, you a fool. They don't want you to know that that lead is all up in them schools. We got 100-year-old buildings full of lead, covered with paint, where our babies are drinking water. Anybody remember the East Side was full of lead? Did they come back and redo them lead testing? Had they redid the lead testing in schools? Our babies are steady getting poisoned. Wonder why we have more and more birth defects. Why we have more and more babies with mental illnesses. Why we have all these teenagers and children committing suicide through a pandemic. And we don't want to offer more online services for our students. Some of our students don't even have a place to go home to. Some of our students don't even have a hot meal. They're too scared to get up and go to school. And we want to close off services. We want to close some of these schools down. Why are we closing schools down when we still have pre-K students on a waiting list? That means we don't have the space to close the schools. They will overcrowd our schools. Our babies won't be taught. How can you sit up here and agree to a contract for smaller class sizes and then close down school buildings to overcrowd class sizes? How can anybody sit up here and think that all of this stuff is right? And why am I running for the school board and out here about these kids and the street violence? Because where do these kids come from? Where are these kids going? Whose halls do these kids walk in? St. Paul Public Schools, charter schools, Catholic schools. I'm running for school board. That means that my responsibility is in my community and in those classrooms. That's my responsibility. So if I'm out here, it's because I care. It's because I'm responsible. Just today, I had to intervene in this situation. Somebody thought I can go get my gun. Well, what are you supposed to do? Keep going and wait for the police sirens? Or are you supposed to say, no, chill out, y'all go your separate ways, let keep it peaceful. You know what? It might have worked for 10 minutes, but it's 10 minutes that's worth it. We have to do our part in every single kind of way. Be out here in this community, parents, community members, I promise you, when I get on that school board, I will help everybody with stable living, because I have a plan that's going to get people employed. We have positions in the school district that could be filled with a high school diploma. Everybody should know that. Giving people $500 a month in rent is good. It's good, but it's not great. What's great is getting people a lifetime. You could teach a man how to fish and feed him for life. And that's what we need to do. We need to feed people for life and not just a moment. You're welcome. All right? The businesses, I want the businesses to come in and help out the schools too. Adopt the school. Help out financially with the school. Get a tax break from that. Why would you want to pay more in taxes instead of giving directly to a school where you know the money is going to go and help out and benefit? This stuff is essential for our schools to succeed. Once our schools succeed and our children get some self-love, because that's what they need. They need to know that they are important. They need to know that there are people out here that care about them and that love them. Not because that we know them, but because they are human. That's the point that needs to be made. Because when I was coming up, we had programs. And not just programs to keep you occupied, but programs to make sure that you knew how to love yourself. Inner City Youth League taught me how to love myself and stand up for my community. And that's what we need again. We need programs like that. And that's what me and Marcus is all about. We out here in these communities, and we also have a message of self-love. Stop the self-destruction. You cannot be out here destroying yourself. All this stuff that is going on out here, there's a reason behind that. And we can all guess at the reason, but until the people that are out here doing this stuff acknowledges the reason why they're doing it, it's not going to change. It is our responsibility to teach them and to reach them. Because we can't sit up here and say, we don't want the police, we want to defund the police and everything else, and then we sit back in our house and not do nothing. Because then, now guess what? They're going to reach your child. Right. And
That's why all the Thunder protesters ain't out here.
Yeah. and I think all the media left because we're not talking bad about the police. Because the police didn't kill anybody. The media left. See, when you start talking facts, that's not a good headline. That's not going to make it on the breaking news. They want to hear something horrible. Yeah. Something that could sell something. But because it happened in our community, it's not worth it. But guess what? We are worth it. Everybody out here is worth it. Going forward, you got organizations out here that are doing good for the community, some of which coming out of their own pockets, which means that they out here for the right reasons. You know, it's one thing to struggle in your house, but when you're struggling for your community, it's a whole nother feeling.
Facts.
It's like you go to church every day. If you ever had the Holy Ghost, that's the feeling. When you out here doing this work
Out of your own
it's like
pockets.
Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Emmett Till, all of them come to you. And when you want to give up, it's nah, keep going. Keep going. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep going. No matter who's out here with us, we're going to keep going. Because everybody in our city matters. I said everybody. Even the shooters matter. Because we're losing you. Not to death, but we're losing you to jail. And I don't know every single shooter individually, and I'm not going to pretend like I do, and I don't know every victim. But I know that everybody has a story, everybody has a reason. And everybody has a path. Some people don't walk the path that was chosen for them. But it's never too late to get back. And as long as you're out here in these streets, it's my responsibility to help you find and get back on that path. Like I said, I don't care about your background. Everybody has a past. There are people out here that used to sell drugs that has told people don't do it because they know the consequences. They know what can happen. There's some people out here that have been doing dirt their whole life, ain't never been to jail. But yet they know that it's not right for you. Because they know that when they was doing it, they didn't feel right. And you know that when you're doing something and you don't feel right, everybody knows what their spirit feels like. When your spirit don't feel right, that's God trying to tell you to stop.
That's right.
God talks to people. You don't need a pastor or a statue to talk to God. All you need is your mouth. And then you need your ears to listen. Okay? That's all you need. So then when you go out here and you do stuff, before you do it, you gotta feel it. You can always back out before you do it. That's gonna save your mama some tears. Because sometimes your mama rely on you to make a quick store run. And when you're locked up, your mama has nobody to go to the store for. Because 9 times out of 10, your homies ain't there for your mama. Now your mama at home struggling. Your mama getting sick because your mama can't get her medicine. All because you got mad and killed somebody. Or just shot somebody and they didn't die. But you still in jail. We gotta stop this. And if you wanna go even deeper, let's talk about slavery and how this is entertainment. Because when back in the slavery days, they used to have slaves fight to the death for entertainment.
So did.
They're not making changes because it's entertaining to them. But when it's their children out here getting killed, it's not going to be entertaining. It's going to be traumatic. The city's in turmoil. The city this, the city that. Oh, this poor child. It could be anybody's child.
That's right.
Why is their child more important than my child? So at the end of the day, speak up. You see something, say something. People need to learn the definition of a snitch. A snitch is not somebody who tells the police. The snitch is somebody who talks to get away from what they did. I'm not asking you to go cop a plea to tell on the next person. I'm asking everybody in the city to say something when they see something. Because domestic violence, a lot of these domestic violence women, men and women, because men are domestic violence victims as well. A lot of them don't speak up because they're waiting for somebody to speak up for them. When you see somebody hitting somebody, step in. Because sometimes that's what they want. They want somebody to help them. And if you're too scared to step in, snap a picture, call the police. Try to wait until the police get there. Because it's not okay. Because when a child sees their parent being abused or abusing somebody, they grow up with that same mentality. So we're already damaging our children before they even get to adulthood. And then they get out here in this society, with the society damaging our children as well. Who can our children turn to? Who can our children turn to when they feel like there's nobody there?